We try desperately to restore civilization from rocks and ruins. Actually, the civilization is a subconscious part of our own natures. We were Babylonia. We were Egypt. We were the ancient Yorubas. We were the glories of Greece and Rome. We were all that has preceded us in history. But between us and our ability to grasp these implications lies this difficult war of our own materialism. While man is convinced that he had no existence prior to his present life and will have no existence subsequent to it, he is locked within a small cycle of immediate events. This in itself would destroy his relationship to the past and future. It makes it impossible for him to justify the one thing that is necessary, and that is the exploration of his own psychic potential. If man can dig far enough and deeply into himself, he will stand face to face with the total living universe. It will stand in the presence of all the dynamic factors that make up existence. It will be again reliving all knowledge that he needs to know in order to possess the answers to the eternal why. Otherwise, as Lord Bacon points out, he must be content with fair picture galleries. He must be content merely to look upon the shadow of things, drawings and sculpturings. He must see fair statues of ancient persons honored for their various achievements. He must look upon all things from a strange historical perspective. But these picture galleries, whether they be carved in archaeological rock or what they may be, are not the living facts. They are the bones of things dead. They die because of the circumstances within themselves which cause death. But they also live at one time because of the vital realities in which promoted life. In order to solve the mystery of life, we must work with life and not with death. In order to solve the substance of things, we cannot become totally and wholly absorbed in shadows. It is interesting to restore the hanging gardens of Babylon, but we can restore them and satisfy ourselves. The problem is, what was the living force behind Babylon? What did we learn there? In what way did Babylon become a part, a step in the unfoldment of a great stream of life moving forever in space? This is the secret motion of things, referred to by Lord Bacon. But this secret motion is the motion of life itself, the motion of things from their courses through their events, through their ends. The secret motion of things in man is the motion of his own life principle, from an eternity of remote past to an eternity of incredible future. Man himself is the guardian and custodian of the living motions of things. And this great school of the 6 days work is the school which man has within himself because he has graduated therefrom. We could not be here if we have not graduated from the past. Maybe we graduated without honors, and sometimes it looks as though we barely made it. But in the same time, we have been there. We have done it. We have come through it in some way. Perhaps the paper were never marked in our cases, or we did come through. We have lived through the school of the 6 days work. The only way in which we can restore this is to assume, which we have a right to assume, that we do not live for no reason. We do not live simply because of an accidental or fortuitous conditions of existence. We have experienced what we have experienced because we needed it. And yet, in some mysterious ways, everything that we have learned has been blocked out. The reason why it was blocked out seems to be that it is because we would be unable to carry the full weight of this previous knowledge and at the same time have integration to go forward. It is perhaps true that the average person, the weight of the past will be too heavy a burden upon its consciousness that could not survive. Yet in nature, it is not necessary that this entire itemized statement be forwarded. It is not necessary that we be confronted with each separate episode or perhaps a long and delinquent career. What is important to us is that out of the totals that are brought forward, out of the balance sheet of things, we should come into some definite basic comprehension of value, of reason, of purpose, that we should sense our relationship to a living world rather than to an academic formula. Some way, education must pick this up, make possible that the students shall understand through the conscious experience of bringing the faculties and powers which he has already created into focus and to use them to estimate the next thing that he must do. Until we get some of these principles clarified in our thinking, we are going to live and die haphazardly without fully utilizing the energies and powers which we possess. It is hoped in Lord Bacon's thinking, and certainly in the concept of the Royal Society, this is clearly brought out that gradually all knowledge, particularly among Western nations, will be brought closer and closer into harmony with one grand universal idealistic concept, that it no longer be necessary for man to dichotomize between religious knowledge and material knowledge, that man shall recognize one world, one universe in which he exists, that this universe is a continuous interplay of spiritual and material factors, that one is not essentially superior to the other, but that in this integration, the purpose of it all, the reason behind it all, is that man himself shall come to know all that is necessary and possible for him to know, and to achieve this, he has to change the foundation of this knowing. One thing is very obvious: in the 70 or 80 years or a number of decades in which we live in this world, there will be and have been made magnificent discoveries. Our own ways of life are such that most of these discoveries will elude us. We will never understand them while we're here. We will depart from this world in due course and discover it will go on. We will have very little understanding of the discoveries that have been made in the past. Our pressures of life is so great that the progress at the moment is comparatively meaningless to us. And we will be gone when the progress produces in turn new fruits to carry forward our search for eternal knowledge. Therefore, if man must historically know all things, he will have to continually exist here forever. If he is historically to know even what happens in the course of his lifetime, he must have energies, powers, freedom, abilities, privileges which the majority of human beings do not possess. Therefore, if even we are alive in an important generation, only a small percentage of people will ever be able to truly benefit by this importance. The entire situation is such that our present way of approaching knowledge must end in futility, because it must end always in the passing away of an ignorant generation, even as the past, great as it was, will be considered ignorant today in terms of many things that we know. So, man never catches up with knowledge. Man has never been able to experience that kind of apperception which cuts through time and makes it possible for man to become immediately aware of the total values of existence